there, bitches! Welcome to the latest edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition.
And no, we're not going to be quiet for your hangover.
And even though we are taping on the 29th of December, this will hit, as Dave mentioned, he alluded to, January the 1st, 2022. So welcome to the new year!
Now,
take some Goodies hangover powder.
2022.
What are you going to resolve to do? Are you going to fix your life? Are you going to do it better? I heard a great quote from the late, great Don Imus, where somebody called into his radio show years and years ago. It was like early December.
Yeah.
And they mentioned, well, Don, I'm resolving in the new year to do this and this and this. And like I said, early December. And he simply said, why don't you just start now?
There you go.
The fallacy of New Year's resolutions never ceases to amaze me, but my daughter thinks they're valid, so great.
Now, I'm going to depress you. 2022. Think about it. 2022. God, please
like
don't give
sequel?
us
Like
please
sequel?
don't give us the sequel.
Oh, Lord.
You know it's already starting over in Israel with the bird flu.
Oh, Jesus. What?
Really bad, and they're saying, oh, this could be the next big pandemic.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping 2021 would be better. I really was, and it didn't turn out to be much better.
Marginally.
We got concerts back to a certain extent.
Things opened up a little bit, but it's...
We were hoping this would be done by now.
Yeah,
really.
We really were. It's...
I mean, Broadway is in trouble. They're still shutting down shows left and right. And California's...
New York and California are pretty much abysmal.
But that's what you get when you put a bunch of leftists in charge.
Yep. When you got the socialist...
Unfortunately...
When you got the socialist regimes running everything.
The two entertainment centers of the world where we on the weekend edition are relying on them to give us movies, TV, and streaming.
Well, if they would frickin' focus on entertaining us and not giving us their political bullshit, life would be much better.
That is true. That is true. So we've kind of gotten to a pattern here on the weekend edition. So we like to start off with music. Dave and I are rock and roll fanatics. So as always, we're going to start off with, we've got song reviews this week, nothing in terms of full albums. I know I just ripped on New Year's resolutions, but I will make resolutions for the Sports Frenzy Weekend Edition. Every segment this week. So keep that in mind. I have resolutions of what I'm going to listen to and review for 2022. Changing my lifestyle, drinking less? Hell no!
No.
Hell no!
Opening your mind as a lateral thinker of music?
Oh, Jesus God. Would you stop? Don't even... If you listen to our regular Sports Frenzy, you know what he means when he says lateral thinker. And he knows it's pushing my buttons and pissing me off.
It's what I do.
It's basically the same as asking me if I'm going to go listen to Neil Young's entire catalog.
Ain't gonna happen.
Get me my bucket so I can throw up right now. But that being said, we've got better stuff to listen to.
We do.
You go ahead and start.
All right. Shall we start with Steve Vai?
That was your suggestion last week. I appreciated it, and
Yep.
I think that's a great place to start.
The first release is actually the title track to his new album, Little Pretty. Great guitar work, as you would expect from Mr. Vai. And I wasn't disappointed with it. Little over 6 minutes of him just going to town. I enjoyed it. I am giving this 3 frenzies.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, except I don't know. Is this the title track? I don't know.
It is. Little Pretty is the album.
Okay. I wasn't sure about that. And this will tie into our next song review, which is off of Tom Morello's latest solo album. But Dave and I had a discussion about this a couple nights ago.
Yeah, with the whole guitar
Right.
only.
You go back to Joe Satriani, Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah.
It's hard for us, for me, I don't think I'm speaking for Dave. He did say
You
the other
can
night,
speak for me on this. I agree with
it's
you.
hard for me to digest an entire album's worth of just guitar solos and instrumentals.
I have to listen to it one or two at a time.
Right.
I cannot go straight through.
And that's why I think Little Pretty works. Like you said, 6 minutes of great guitar work, phenomenal guitar work. Of course, I love Steve Vai from his time with David Lee Roth, so he's already burned a place in my rock and roll heart that will never be taken away. He is cool beyond belief, like Satriani. Yeah, this was really cool. I'm glad you suggested this. And of course, right after you did, it popped up on my Spotify release radar, so I was able to access it quickly and easily. And I've listened to it half a dozen times, and I really do like it. Again,
I'm looking forward to the album coming out, but I am not going to listen to it all the way through in one sitting. I'm going to pick it up here and there to enjoy it.
And to me, the other guy we got to bring up in this, and this, we've got time. We've got all the time in the world. It's the 1st of January, 2022.
That's right.
Technically, when this hits. It's Ted Nugent. I always think of Ted Nugent because Ted Nugent, I know he doesn't like to sing his songs. When he does, though, they're awesome.
Right.
But he likes to bring in other singers,
to do stuff. And he likes the long guitar work as well.
Right. And I'm torn on that, too, because Kenny Wayne Shepherd is another one that does that.
Yeah.
Blue on Black. He's not singing Blue on Black. He's got his own guys that he brings in to sing these songs.
Yeah.
The great guitar work is awesome. It's fantastic. But I look at, like I said, Ted Nugent, when he would sing his own stuff and bring in that nasty, demonic tint to it.
Yeah.
That evil Ted tint to it, which made the song so much better. Like Wango Tango. The other guy I think of who never let anybody else sing his songs but him, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yes.
Stevie Ray Vaughan could do both and meld them. He could have long guitar solos on his albums, and they were phenomenal. They were beautiful. They bring a tear to your eye. But he would also sing, and he didn't have the greatest voice in the world.
No.
But it was, I'm singing my own damn songs.
Billy Gibbons.
Texas Flood. Billy Gibbons, another one. Great, great choice. So it would be nice if Vai, Satriani, like Satriani with Chicken Foot. Oh my God. And I've seen recent interviews with him where he regrets the fact that Chicken Foot was just kind of a one-off, even though they were 2 albums in.
Right.
He said, we all knew it wasn't going to happen. It's too many egos in the room.
Yeah.
Scheduling conflicts and all that stuff. But a guy like Satriani, in that foursome, being able to play the way he wanted to play, but having the other guys sing, take the burden off of him.
Right.
That's what I miss with these great guitar players is I just wish they would find that group with the great vocalist.
Where they could excel at what they do, but have the vocals in there. Because if we had any vocals to Little Pretty, it would have just sent it over the top.
If it was a great vocalist, though, again.
Right. You have to have...
Again, Nugent brings in these guys that are okay but not great, like Stranglehold. He doesn't sing Stranglehold.
No.
He's got another guy coming in singing Stranglehold. It works, but other songs it just doesn't. I mean, there is some kind of name recognition in music. There is some kind of point where you've got to have a voice that we know. I was listening to, believe it or not, going back years and years. Last week, I think it was Paul Rogers' birthday of Bad Company, and I was listening to The Firm. It was cool to hear Jimmy Page with Paul Rogers. Just, that dynamic I hadn't heard in so long with Radioactive.
Oh, God.
Satisfaction Guaranteed. All those great songs. They only had 2 albums.
Right.
But Page was smart enough to try to bring in, he did it with Coverdale. He had Coverdale Page. I just kind of wish
worked well.
Vai would go back to doing that, like with David Lee Roth.
Find somebody
a solid top-level vocalist to bring in to match your guitar work.
Yeah.
Because the guitar work is so fantastic. Sorry. I could talk about music all freaking day. All of 2022.
But you're right on that. That would be perfect.
Yeah. But the guitar work on Little Pretty is phenomenal. And I agree, 3 frenzies. So now we go to the other guitar solo / song that we had on our list. Now, this is the one I suggested to you. Now, would you please tell me, this is Tom Morello.
Yep. I have seen the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen the way.
Now, the first thing I'm going to say positively about this is that this reminded me of something. If you hadn't told me it was Tom Morello, I could almost see this being a Vernon Reid Living Color type solo.
Perhaps.
But now the second thing is, why are Alec Lifeson and Kirk Hammett? I did not hear 3 guitars on this song ever.
They are wasted on this. To me, this was Rage. It was a dance club mix, is what I felt it was.
Okay.
It was good, not great. But again, it had that Rage sound, and I'm not a Rage fan.
I could see that, but since Zach De La Rocha is not singing on it, it makes it better to me.
It does, but
yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't over the top
advertising.
On this one.
I think there's false advertising here because
there is.
I don't understand. If it had just been Tom Morello, okay,
fine. But if you're putting
how am
in
I supposed to hear
Lifeson
and Hammett on this at all? I heard nothing from them.
No, not at all. They did not come through in any way, shape, or form.
I got to do some more research on this because it literally, I don't know. This would be like you and me doing a sports frenzy. Oh, and we've got Tony Romo, and we've got, well, where are they? Well, you can hear them in the background, maybe, possibly, sort of, kind of. It seemed like a lie. It seemed like a big fat lie.
Yep.
Because I don't hear Lifeson, and I don't hear Hammett at all. I don't hear 3 guitars. I don't hear 2 guitars. I hear Hammett. Or not Hammett. Morello.
Just banging away like he would normally.
Now, I'm a little more optimistic about it beyond that. Beyond the fact that I do think it's false advertising. I heard a little bit more Living Color. I heard a little bit more without, again, De La Rocha, whining and crying and wailing away, and just hearing Morello playing guitar. I didn't dislike it. I'll give it 3 frenzies.
I went 2.5.
Okay. But you and I agree that something's not right here. When you're going to advertise it as this triple bill of great guitarists,
and you only hear
and you
one,
can't hear but one distinctive style,
there's
something's
something
wrong here.
Yep, completely agree.
All right, let's move on to John Mellencamp first. His latest single, Chasing Rainbows.
Yes.
From his upcoming album, Strictly a One-Eyed Jack, which is coming out here in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Mid to late January.
Interesting little title. I like the album cover that's there.
Yes. I have a feeling he painted that. I don't know why, but
it's got that vibe to it, but it's really freaking cool.
Yeah. Now, we reviewed the first single, right? The one with Springsteen, right? Wasted Days.
Yeah,
which I think I like more than you.
Yeah,
even
Springsteen
though
overwhelmed too much.
But I listened to that again today too, and I still agree with your assessment. I like it more, but you're right. Springsteen just overwhelms Wasted Days. Now we get John Mellencamp on his own.
Yep.
Even though there are 2 other songs on the upcoming album with Springsteen.
Yeah.
Chasing Rainbows is, to me, is the best and the worst of the new Mellencamp. I say the new Mellencamp.
Yeah, where he's not the rocker that he was.
Right, which is disappointing to me. It's really, he's trying so hard. And I don't know if you feel the same way about him as I do, but I used to just absolutely love Mellencamp back in the days of American Fool and
Yeah.
He rocked out. It was him and him alone. He was the rebel. He was
just balls to the wall rock.
And then to me now, he's trying too hard to be, I want to be the next Bob Dylan. I want to be the new Neil Young. I want to be the next.
I want to be the folk rock singer right now.
He looks up at Bruce Springsteen as his quote unquote big brother. Like,
no.
Why don't you just be John Mellencamp? Didn't you go through all this crap with the name where you didn't like being John Cougar? So you said, I want to go back to being John Mellencamp. Then be John Mellencamp. Stop trying to be
somebody
Bob Dylan
else.
Jr., Bruce Springsteen II. Be yourself. Go back to rocking out a little bit, like Dave said. Jesus. I mean, Chasing Rainbows isn't terrible, but in the end, it's kind of boring.
It is. He's got that smoker voice going. I kind of like the vibe that his voice had with it, but it could have been a little more to it.
And I like the lyrics. I like the
lyrics were great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very cool, simple premise that don't go chasing rainbows because the pot of gold is there around you every day.
Yeah.
So stop trying to chase it when you're missing out on the simple things that will make you happy and give your life fulfillment. Love the lyrics. Love the idea behind the song. But again, he has been stuck in the mire so long of trying to be Arlo Guthrie, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating to me.
It is, but I think for this particular song, that works.
So what do you give it?
I gave it a 3 because while I love how he rocks out with this particular song, with the lyrics, the vibe he's going for, the folksy thing works for this one.
I could only give it 2.5. I tried to be as generous as I could. And again, 2.5 frenzies, more so for the lyrics and the idea than the music. The music just bored me to tears.
There you go.
I could do an entire podcast episode about John Mellencamp.
About his de-evolution over the last
I could break down all the albums and show how he highs and lows and the peaks. Underrated albums, overrated albums. Yes. I could talk about music fucking forever. That being said, we get to move on to another 80s icon.
Bryan Adams with a twofer.
Yeah, we already reviewed the title track off the upcoming album, So Happy It Hurts.
Yep.
So now we get songs 2 and 3, Kick Ass and On the Road. So I will let you go first. What say you, David?
We will start with Kick Ass.
And you did listen to the full version. I did
listen to the full with the full intro. It was a little over the top.
Oh, come on! You're killing me.
All right, let me explain why. I love the intro. I thought it set it up great, but to me, the song overall fell short of what the intro led it to be.
Wow, okay.
I felt this was more of a country song than a full-on rock song.
Wow, okay. Wow. All right. Now, this could be one where you and I are vastly different.
I think we could be on this one. I liked it, but I felt the intro the song did not live up to the intro.
Now,
to
let me
me.
ask you this. Did the intro from John Cleese, did that not sound a little bit like Shout at the Devil, the intro?
It had that
In the
vibe
beginning.
to it in the beginning. Yes.
Um,
No, I love the intro, but it overhyped what the song did not live up to it. To me.
Okay, what about the other one? Then we'll give our reviews together on both of them.
Okay.
What about On the Road?
On the Road, I kind of liked it, but it felt a little generic.
Okay.
It kind of tried to be that classic Bryan Adams, but it almost felt like just kind of going through the motions.
Okay. See, now,
I didn't hate either one.
right. And maybe this is me just grasping, trying to find new music that I can tolerate and enjoy. Because God knows there's so little of it out there. And I have not liked anything Bryan Adams has done in decades. That's why I was kind of encouraged.
Well, at least he got away from the ballads.
That's what I was going to go for next. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic about what I'm hearing from So Happy It Hurts, because I'm scared to death that the next release is going to be that awful ballad that's going to destroy everything for me.
Yeah.
So I have liked all three songs so far. Not loved, not fallen in love with. We're not talking stuff like what was on Reckless or Cuts Like a Knife.
Right.
Those are classics we grew up with, timeless, that you're never going to match.
Right.
But if this stuff is the best we're going to get from Bryan Adams, I'm okay with it. I am shocked about Kick-Ass with you. That's the one that really On the Road, I kind of get where you're coming from, although I still think I liked it a little bit more. I still think he kind of gave you the world weary, road weary vibe. I don't think it was necessarily generic, but it's not the be all end all. It's not great. But I would give On the Road 3 frenzies. I thought it was comfort food, kind of like rock and roll comfort food. On the Road, on the Road. Kick-Ass, now come on. How did you not love Kick-Ass? It's meat and potatoes, solid.
It is.
Let's get out there and rock song. I'm giving it 3. I'm not going higher than 3.
I'm going 3 on Kick-Ass, but I'm going 2.5.
Well, you didn't sound like you were going on 3 on Kick-Ass.
It just sounded. I had expected more out of it. I would have loved to have gone 3.5.
You gotta remember the source, though. Bryan Adams, again, outside of those 2 classic albums and maybe some of Into the Fire, he's never been.
No, he hasn't
one
been
of those
the
guys
full-on rock.
He's not a rock god. He's not a rock god.
But I didn't think it lived up to the intro.
So maybe you need to listen to it without
the intro, I think I would have enjoyed it.
Okay.
Had a more positive.
I screwed up. I told you to listen to the intro with the song.
I liked the intro.
You should have listened to the song just from the start of, when he starts screaming, "Give me the drums, give me the bass, give me the guitar."
That probably would have been the best route to go.
All right.
But On the Road, a 2.5.
And again, I get where you're coming from with that. I just maybe liked it a little bit more.
Probably.
And again, I'm waiting for the ballad that is going to destroy this momentary high I have about Bryan Adams, where I'm really kind of psyched about this album.
Yeah.
So there you go, kids. In a couple months,
once we have the full album, we will give it to you.
Dave and I will review So Happy It Hurts, the entire album.
And hopefully it will not hurt.
So to wrap up our music segment, I have a resolution.
More Taylor Swift.
That's my daughter. No. Oh my God, she's now a Taylor Swift fanatic. Oh my God. We can't go there right now. Please. We can't. We can't. Oh, she also loves the Cardigans right now. Remember them?
Not while I'm drinking.
Love me.
Why? They were bad back in the day.
Here's another great classic Sports Frenzy aside. We were talking the other night, and she was telling me about how she's discovered the Cardigans. And, I said, oh, that one terrible song. And, oh, I love that song. She pulls up the album. Okay? Pulls up the album. Do you know what one of the songs on the album is?
No, because I never listened to them because of that one song.
I was trying to build up the tension. Iron Man. And she's like, what is Iron Man? And I said, are you talking about the Black Sabbath classic Iron Man? She's like, no, this can't be. She starts playing it. And I'm like, I hear the first couple lines. I'm like, no, it's completely different. But
it's the lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics start in.
I am Iron Man.
And I said, no, that's Black Sabbath. That's Iron Man with Ozzy Osbourne. And she had to look up the song, starts playing the classic Sabbath. And then she hears the first couple lines and goes, oh my God, that is the song. And I'm like, ha ha. Metal wins again.
Death to all but metal.
I thought that was great, though, just watching her cringe when she realized that our music had once again seeped into her little existence and ruined it for her. But we are going to see Dirty Honey in approximately 3 weeks.
With
Mammoth.
WVH.
I will have a review of Dirty Honey's album, finally. Now that we're going to see them, I have listened to it a couple times. I've got a couple more spins I want to get in on it. Yep. I will give a full review here in the next week or two of Dirty Honey. And, of course, I promised I will review Aaron Jones.
Yes, please.
Child of the State is another one I am going to get done here within the next couple weeks. So
I got to see him in concert.
Those are my 2 albums I have on the slate for now. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Mellencamp's coming out mid to late January, so we'll review that. But New Year's resolution, I will have a review of Dirty Honey before we see them, as well as knocking out Aaron Jones, Child of the State. Those are my 2 album reviews here within the next 2 weeks. I promise I will have. My New Year's resolution for everybody out there and the Conquistador.
It will be good.
That's right. All right, we're done with music. We're done with this segment. So coming up next, why don't we do some movies? And
you can do some movies. I only have a story time for our movie segment.
That's all right. That's all right. I've got one review, and then I have a story time as well, so we'll knock all those out, along with more New Year's resolutions when it comes to movies from the Maestro.
There we go.
All right.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back. Stuck in a no-win situation? Wife being held captive while your feet bleed? Take a second to decompress. Pull out your smartphone and listen to Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out their Facebook page. The Maestro and the Conquistador will take your mind off your dire predicament and give you the best non-PC sports commentary you'll find anywhere. And once you compose your exit strategy and take down some German terrorists, you'll want to yell, Yippee-ki-yay, Sports Frenzy 2.0! Happy 2022, everybody. Welcome to the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height. And we are your hangover cure as you roll into 2022.
That's right. We are taping technically in 2021 on the 29th, but this will hit on the 1st. So we hope you had a great New Year's Eve, a safe and responsible New Year's Eve. Stuff you can watch as you get over drinking all that beer, all that whiskey, all
the
that wine.
champagne.
Yeah. Is old.
Not Old Lang Syne.
M. Night Shyamalan's old. I've got that for you this week. I actually finally watched that. Been looking forward to it because I love the twist. I love the fact that he is the master of the twist ending.
So
Sometimes
good.
it works better than others. Even when his movies leading up to the twist aren't the best, sometimes the twist salvages
the movie.
Like The Village is a great example of that.
Yeah, where you're going along, it's like, wow, okay, this was great.
Yep. The Visit was another one that I liked a lot with that. There's other ones like The Happening that didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
And of course, he made his career on his very first movie with I See Dead People.
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense. So now the latest from M. Night is old. Again, I don't want to spoil too much for anybody. Of course, Dave is going to watch this eventually, being the stalwart co-host that he is. He tried, but I actually bought the movie, and he's going to wait until it goes onto a streaming service, which
I'm going cheap.
Yeah, which I normally would do, but again, I'm a sucker for Shyamalan's movies, so I had to see it. And I liked it very much. Trying to not give away too much. Family goes to a vacation resort. They are given directions to a remote beach where they can enjoy time away from the hustle and bustle of said resort. And if you haven't watched the commercials, well, you're just, living under a rock, because if you haven't figured out, everybody starts to age really rapidly.
An accelerated rate.
So I will not really go into more than that. What I can say is that Dave did make the one point that maybe I could say is a drawback in the movie, is that you have to go through dealing with not knowing what's happening, why it's happening. And you just have to go with the flow and
wait for it.
Wait for it, and then you finally get the payoff, and the payoff is really good. It's really good. There's one little part of it that I thought was it wasn't explained enough, and it didn't make any sense. It seemed like a convenient plot mechanism. But if you can get over that, then the twist works beautifully. Beautifully. It explains almost everything. And again, you got to stay with it, because if you've got half a brain, you're going to be watching this movie and you're going to be going, why is that happening? That doesn't make any sense. That's weird. It will all be explained at the end. And I'm going to give it 3 frenzies. I'm giving it a strong 3. I'm not going 3.5. It's not that good, because again, you have to wade through an hour and a half of muck to get to the payoff.
And you have that one little convenient.
So, positive review, 3 frenzies. This is usually where I go with Shyamalan stuff, because to me, it's not a movie, it's a trick. It's almost like a carnival trick, where the payoff is good at the end. The whole trick works. in this case, old works.
It's
It
going to
does
see
work.
David Copperfield in
Right.
live.
And I do admire him for that. We need more of people like him who are taking chances, who are trying to give us something that will thrill us.
Hear that, Hollywood? We want something different and original.
And that's, again, great point by the Conquistador. That's what he does. He really, very rarely are his movies unoriginal. Signs maybe was a little bit too, old school sci-fi, but for the most part, he comes up with really interesting twists on story ideas that have not really been explored by Hollywood. So I give old a strong 3 frenzies.
Very good.
Again, don't want to spoil things, so.
Yeah, and with his stuff, you really don't want to spoil,
Right.
because it's the journey and the payoff.
That's a really good way to look at it. And, that almost sounds like a night with an Asian hooker in Las Vegas. Oh, wow. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Wow. Well, for the movie segment, I am going to ring in 2022 with Storytime. And this is from this past weekend, Christmas Day, in fact. Getting ready as we're preparing to go to the in-laws for Christmas Day. Walk into the family room and everybody's sitting there, and flip on the TV, and my youngest, Nick, decides, all right, let's watch Gremlins. Christmas Day, right? I'm like, all right, we're watching it. And we go, all right, we know tonight, I asked him, tonight we're watching our regular Christmas Day evening movie, Die Hard. It's a tradition. Great Christmas movie. It is. So we go, Gremlins is a Christmas movie. And my mom's sitting there. She's like, what do you mean it's a Christmas movie? Nick and I look at each other and we go, the little Mogwai is bought for the guy's son as a Christmas present. It takes place over Christmas. The town is completely decorated. You have the heartbreak story of what happened to the girl on Christmas. And my mom's like, wow, I never realized it took place at Christmas when you and your brother watched it all the time through the years. I just saw snippets here and there walking through the room. And so she's watching it and she goes, huh, yeah, I guess it is a Christmas movie. In a roundabout way.
Why isn't anybody talking about this? Gremlins should be a Christmas movie. Great point. Great story.
Because nobody they want the traditional feel-good Christmas movies. No, a Christmas movie takes place at Christmas. People are traveling, they're preparing gifts, there's some sort of family drama that needs to be resolved. There's a conflict of some point, and it typically has the happy ending.
We're not talking about the Asian hooker
Not the
anymore.
Asian hooker happy ending, but everything is resolved and there's a positive outcome.
You should teach a class on this. Literally. Because I'm thinking,
check.
Dave would be able to convince anybody not only of Gremlins but Die Hard with that logic.
It's all right there. It happens to be a horror Christmas movie. Die Hard is an action Christmas movie.
They've made horror Black Christmas.
Yeah.
They're horror Christmas movies.
Krampus,
yeah.
So get away from the traditional thought. expand your horizons. You check the boxes, and there you go.
Yes. Yes. So I have a holiday story time as well, Uncle Kev. Mine is multi-tiered though. So as I usually do every Christmas, I went over to my neighbors for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So we had a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, a lot of movies to potentially watch. First off, as every year, as it always happens, I get berated and abused because I always inevitably mention that I have never watched It's a Wonderful Life. And everybody gives me a hard time and says, why haven't you? I just haven't. I don't really care about Jimmy Stewart and what happens to him on Christmas. I don't care because I'm going back to what you were talking about. I'd rather watch a Die Hard or a Gremlins.
I concur with you on that. I have never seen It's a Wonderful Life. I've seen the first 2 minutes. I've seen the last 2 minutes. I have no desire to see everything in between. And at this point in my life, it's a mission to never watch it.
I agree. That's how I feel about it too. I don't need to be bullied into watching a movie. The minute you start bullying me into watching a movie, then I'm
shutting
say,
you out.
Yeah, then I'm saying there's no way in hell I'm watching the movie. Because if you have to bully me into watching it,
then
that
it
tells
can't
me
be that good.
No, it can't be. So then we luckily turned on a couple other movies. One they suggested and one I suggested. Both great. Both great. One should be in any household with children 13 and above a tradition. That, of course, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Always a tradition for us, the afternoon of Christmas Eve.
Great to see Chevy Chase in one of his best roles ever. And every time I see Christmas Vacation, I think Chevy still doesn't get enough credit.
No.
Because then I start thinking about Fletch. And then I start thinking about Caddyshack. And I start thinking, how many great freaking movies did Chevy Chase make?
Nothing but trouble.
And with Goldie Hawn, what was the one with Goldie Hawn? Foul Play?
Foul Play. One of the first that I've seen with him. Awesome.
Yes, and it was just great to see Christmas. That was probably the first time in 3 or 4 years I've actually seen Christmas Vacation.
Hey, Griswold, we're going to put a tree that size. Bend over and I'll show you. How dare you talk to me like that? I wasn't talking to you.
And off camera, during the break, we were joking about something else involving Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And of course, she's great in Christmas Vacation.
Why is the floor wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot.
Everybody loves that exchange. I'm just like, oh my God. You know, that's like me with some of the lines from Caddyshack or Hot Tub Time Machine. You know, everybody says that. Why is the floor wet, Todd? I'm like, now it's ingrained in my cultural memory that I'm supposed to love that line. But no, but the rant he goes on, the things that I remember from seeing it in the past, the rant he goes on when he thinks he's found his Christmas bonus. Oh, I found this behind the seat. And everybody, I'm going to buy the swimming pool.
It's the Jelly of the Month Club. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
And I don't know
it is,
how,
Edward.
I don't know how he remembered for 30 seconds all the insults that he put forth and strung and spewed together.
Ending with, bag of monkey shit that he is. Holy shit, where's the Tylenol?
And again, this is where I'm going. Why doesn't Chevy Chase get the credit he deserves? From Hot Tub Time Machine, Fletch. I mean, Jesus God. The guy is an underrated gem.
He is.
Literally could be one of the top 10 comedic talents of all time.
Agreed.
So then I got to choose a movie because my buddy from down south, the son-in-law of my neighbor, always comes in once, twice a year, and he looks to me to
Please save me.
to relieve him from his burden. So he always says, "Let's watch a movie, Kev. Let's watch a movie, Kev. Please, let's watch a movie, Kev."
Kevin, invite me over to watch a movie.
So this time it didn't work out in terms of me getting him out of trouble, but I waded into trouble. And luckily, we were able to, instead of watching something new, I was able to convince everybody, taking the kids out of the room, to watch a great, great classic that we had not watched in years. Lawrence of Arabia is an Englishman. He came to fight the Turkish. We watched Hollywood Nights.
What do you get when you cross a Bermuda onion and a mule?
A piece of ass that'll bring tears to your eyes. Oh my God, we had a ball.
He's holding the thing with his...
One of the most underrated comedies of all time.
God, Robert Wall was brilliant.
As much as I love Christmas Vacation, Hollywood Nights is better. I mean,
God.
This is in the grand nostalgia theme that was running through that 6 or 7 year span in Hollywood.
Where you had
starting with American Graffiti and Porky's and Lords of Flatbush.
Animal House.
Right.
That whole run.
Right. And Hollywood Nights is so underrated. It is so good. It is so funny. It is. And the thing is, there is a serious undercurrent there.
There is.
With the Tony Danza storyline.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right. Plus going to Vietnam.
Yep.
And they're acting like it's no big deal, but they're trying to send the guy off.
Yeah.
You know, and they're acting like it's serious, even though they're on the surface saying it's not.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you've got Robert Wool farting Valari.
Valari. Turk, did you?
I'm glad. Fran Drescher. In all her glory.
Oh, God.
What? I have to give Hollywood Nights 3.5 Frenzies. Have to.
Oh, have to.
Have to.
Have to.
I give Christmas Vacation a strong 3, but I have to give Hollywood Nights 3.5. Just because
there's just so much going on.
It is so great. And if you've never seen this and you're wondering, what the hell is the Maestro talking about? Check out the Hollywood Nights. Seriously.
It is awesome. We would not lead you wrong with this one.
No. And the guy who plays the cop, you know.
Oh, God.
Your ass is grass!
And I'm the lawnmower.
Never saw him again in any other movie ever again.
I've had this taste in my mouth before. It's got a little wang to it.
Seriously, this is literally almost as close as you can get to Maestro comedy movie heaven. It's just short of Hot Tub Time Machine and Caddyshack. It would literally be comedy-wise top 20 all time. Easily.
It's right there. And if we can quote it, you should know it.
So, good to bring back Storytime for the holidays. As always, with the Maestro and the Conquistador. I have a warning before we wrap up segment 2. Not a review, a warning. I know a lot of you out there take your streaming services and you try to be judicious with how you spend your money, and you keep, I have Paramount Plus, I'm dropping that, I'm picking up Netflix, I'm dropping Netflix, I'm picking up Disney Plus. I get that. I do that. I hopscotch all the time. The movie that made me quit Netflix this week, after only half an hour, so I can't fully review it.
Kudos to you for taking my advice from last week.
I made a New Year's resolution based on this movie and Dave last week. And even though I don't regret watching The Power of the Dog, I thought watching it was okay. It was not like Nomadland, but this all-star piece of garbage that Netflix is pushing out called Don't Look Up with DiCaprio, with Jennifer Lawrence, with Meryl Streep.
Well, that's the problem. It's got Meryl frickin' Streep.
She's the president. She's the president of the U.S. in this movie. Jonah Hill is her son / press secretary. And it's the first half an hour is such heavy-handed, stupid, over-the-top satire that it's not funny. It's not close to being funny. We get it. We're all obsessed with social media and image and what looks right and what looks wrong and what you can do for me, instead of worrying about something
what you actually
that could potentially ruin the world. We get it. How long does it take? Half an hour of you pounding that into my brain with stupid jokes and stupid, one-off, one-liners. It's not smart. It's not funny. It's pretentious, and it's
Hollywood bullshit.
It's ignorant. It's just stupid. It's a way. And the thing is, I actually went on IMDb the next day after I decided to quit Netflix and stop watching this piece of garbage. And thank God my daughter came in while I was watching this and looked at me and said, "Why are you looking at the TV like that, Dad?" And I said, "Because I'm watching this movie and it sucks so bad. I can't understand why this movie sucks so bad." And she said, like The Conquistador, she said, "Then stop watching it, Dad. Stop it."
If it doesn't resonate with you, it's okay not to finish.
And then the next day I go on IMDb. Good reviews. You don't get it. It's funny. It's satire. I get it. It's not funny satire. It's stupid satire. It's idiotic satire. Oh my God. The world is bad enough as it is. We don't need you pointing it out.
See,
with stupid jokes.
The reason I will not watch it is because of Meryl Streep. I think she is the most overrated actress in history.
The whole thing, I mean, literally, again, I only watched 30 minutes. I have made that one of my resolutions, thanks to you and my daughter, is no more stupid movies. I'm done. If it sucks in half an hour, it ain't getting better an hour and a half later.
Bingo.
I'm not wasting my time anymore. I don't have that much left. I'm done. So I say stay away from this movie. Don't even bother. I wasted half an hour of my life, people. I'm saving you from at least 30 minutes. Stay away from it completely. Now, that being said, New Year's resolutions for this segment. I will finish up Kingsman, at least the first 2 movies. I've already watched the first. You've gotten my review. The Golden Circle, I will get done here and review that here very soon. Now, this one I'm going to bounce off of The Conquistador to see if we could do possibly a review together. I will understand if he says no.
Why am I afraid?
This could go either way.
All right.
But it's on Amazon Prime. It's free to us. Part of our childhood growing up. But there is some pretentious aspects to it. Being the Ricardos.
You know what? This is one that I was considering.
Let's make it a review for next week then.
There we go.
New Year's resolution. I've heard it's very good. I've heard that Lucille Ball's family oversaw it.
Yep.
Made sure that it was accurate. Made sure there was nothing in it that was
untawdry.
Right.
No, this one I am very interested in. Growing up, watching the reruns of I Love Lucy
and the
Lucy Show, and yeah, Always thought she was hysterical. Great actress. So
It'd be interesting to see how Nicole Kidman comes off as Lucille Ball. That will be interesting.
That's the one question mark that I have.
All right, kids. So there you go. Next week, along with Dirty Honey and the music,
Being the Ricardos.
Being the Ricardos for a movie review. And again, along with the Kingsman, Golden Circle, those are my movie resolutions for early 2022.
There we go.
So now we come back.
TV streaming.
And I do have not only a TV and streaming resolution, but a book resolution.
What?
Because I knew that would be something you'd be looking forward to. So.
No.
Yes. Because, of course, as we've always mentioned on this show, Dave reads 475 books a year.
I do not. I read between 50 and 70.
And even though rumor says I only read 2 to 3, I do read 8 to 10 a year. So maybe I will resolve to change that. We'll see. You'll have to stay tuned for the third segment, which is coming up next.
This is Coach K, and after my retirement from college basketball, I plan to become an analyst on Sports Frenzy 2.0 with the Maestro and the Conquistador every Thursday on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page.
Happy New Year from Sports Frenzy 2.0. I'm the Conquistador Dave Height.
Along with the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
And third segment here that will debut January 1st, 2022. Streaming and TV for you. I am going to do a little guilty pleasure streaming from Discovery Plus. So the wife and I, making use of our subscription to it, decided to try. We're suckers for anything Bigfoot. Always a fun show.
As you should be.
Everybody should watch any Bigfoot
Loch
show.
Ness monsters, all that Yeti stuff. Come on, man.
Anything weird, wild, nature, mystery stuff. And that's what I'm bringing for you here with not one, but two shows we've gotten invested into. First up, Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. This one is very intriguing from a historical standpoint. So there's an Alaskan town where the elders have asked 4 of the residents to investigate a former ancestral area, Portlock, Alaska. 70 years ago, everyone in the town left immediately after Nantinak, or as they referred locally to Bigfoot, started killing off hunters and anybody who wound up going into the woods. Mutilated, actually more than mutilated, dismembered bodies were found in the lagoon outside of their canning industry. And so everybody had left out of fear for their lives. And so now, where everybody relocated, they're running out of resources where they're at, and they're investigating, is it worth going back to Portlock? So these 4 members of the town go back to see, is Nantinak still in the area? And they're releasing it 1 episode a week. And so now we've just watched the 5th episode. Weird crap is going on in Portlock, Alaska. Very bizarre stuff. And we'll wait and see how it all rolls out. but they're bringing in some people to help out here and there. Very intriguing. Lots of weird noises, weird things that have happened. So I'll let you know how it all winds out. But so far, it's got us hooked. We like this stuff. It's fun. Second up on Discovery Plus, the Alaska Triangle. Did you know that in the last 30 years, over 16,000 people have disappeared in Alaska under mysterious circumstances?
No, we talked about this the other night. So I've got a sneak peek on this. This
You
stuff freaks
did.
me out. It freaks me out beyond belief. And I'm with Dave. I love it. I love it.
So right now there's 2 seasons and we're 2 episodes into season 1. First one starts off with, in 1950, an Air Force plane, a Douglas C-540, went missing with like 40 Air Force personnel on board. It hit its last checkpoint before it was supposed to reach its location and just disappeared. And there was 2 weeks of a massive air and ground search covering the area. Nothing. They could find no hide nor hair of a crash or anything. They're wondering if there was a 3-dimensional portal that may have opened up, kind of like some of the rumblings that happened in the Bermuda Triangle. Could it possibly be happening up in the Alaska Triangle, which pretty much covers the entire state, parts of Canada? But still, it's intriguing stuff. The mysteries you don't know about. The second episode is the Hairy Man of Port Chatham. Actually, this ties in because where Port Chatham is, it's actually the town of Portlock, Alaska. So what's currently being filmed in Portlock, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, when this first season of the Alaska Triangle came out, they did this thing on the Hairy Man, which is the Bigfoot in Alaska, and covered pretty much the entire history that I just went over talking about Killer Bigfoot. So, and a lot of other weird things going on related to it. So you get the main story and some second and third tier tales to go along. And you got people out there trying to figure out what's going on with each episode. If you love the weird, wild stuff, check them out. They're fun. Something to do.
See, this is the kind of stuff I would rather check out than like all the true crime stuff on Netflix. I don't need to be depressed about, knowing that the person walking on the sidewalk next to me could be a killer.
Right.
Or the fact that, there's all these children or women that have disappeared. I'd rather try to explore, like you're saying, the Loch Ness, the Bigfoot, the triangles,
and
the
funny
unknown.
You should mention Loch Ness. The third episode that we're getting ready to watch is the Loch Ness Monster of Alaska. So
we don't
Mysteries
know.
of the Unknown.
Right.
That whole series that used to be there, this kind of goes along with it.
If even one of these ends up being true, I think it validates reading, watching, looking into all of them, exploring.
So much more fun and entertaining than any of the BS singing shows that are on regular network.
God, do you even have to say that? Well,
Yes,
I guess you do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, unfortunately, which is sad.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I mean, I don't care who the masked singer is. Yeah. I really don't.
No, I'm a sucker for all this weird, mysterious, paranormal, out there stuff.
I am too. Not as much as you. I won't watch TV shows about it, even though I got sucked into that Hulu one that turned out to be more about pot farmers than about Bigfoot. But that's what sucked me in.
Yeah.
I still think there is something going on out there. We don't know what's in the trenches, in the deepest parts of the oceans.
Correct.
What kind of creatures, caverns under the earth.
We have so much
Unexplored
wilderness.
areas. There you go. So in many ways, I am simpatico with this cause, this TV cause that the Conquistador has brought up. Of course, I just reviewed my last book, was a fictional tale about what would happen if there was a remote Washington commune that was infested, attacked by Sasquatches.
Yep.
If there was an eruption of Mount Rainier and they were forced down. So I'm all down with it. I'm good with it. So now, doing a 180, my TV streaming review for the week is the end of season 15 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Which in many ways is pathetic because there's only 8 episodes.
They couldn't even give you a full 10?
8 episodes. Because notice how quickly this 2 episodes a week for 4 weeks, and it's done. They're already done. Yep, because remember the last time we talked about them, we were talking about Monkey Bear, which was arguably one of the best episodes ever. And then after that, they went to Ireland for the last 4. So they were causing trouble and chaos.
Oh, God.
Overseas. I have to admit, this, as I mentioned when I talked about this a couple weeks ago, I had not watched Sunny in years and years and years. And I just wanted something funny. I was just desperate for some comedy. And even though it was only 8 episodes, season 15 was pretty funny. I enjoyed most of the episodes. I give it 3 frenzies. Even though 8 episodes just doesn't seem right. It just seems kind of pathetic.
That's kind of a cop-out.
Yeah. You couldn't give us 10 or 12?
Usually 10 or 12. 10's usually the minimum.
For a half-hour comedy.
12 is about the norm.
Right. So, I'll take it for what it is. It was very funny for the 8 episodes I got.
There you go.
Makes me wonder, though, if they're just running out of gas, and will we see season 16? I got to figure they're gonna have to wrap this up somehow.
Yeah.
Like the gang all dies will be the final episode.
They burn up in the bar.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Or they just sell it and go their merry ways.
The episode where the gang replaces D with a monkey was a classic. Just a classic. Some other TV and streaming tidbits to talk about before we get to resolutions. December the 23rd, 1971. The 50-year anniversary of the release of Dirty Harry. I could not go through without acknowledging that.
Wow. Good Lord. Oh, man.
Dirty Harry. I don't care if you're a liberal namby-pamby.
God, that
I don't care if you're a diehard gun-toting.
That came out when I was 11 months old. 11 months and 1 day.
Yep. That's how old it is, but it's still got a hold on us to this day. You and I still have our theories about how Gran Torino is still technically somehow subtly the end of Dirty Harry. 5 Dirty Harry movies. They were phenomenal, fantastic.
Not enough.
Right. But again, Clint knows when to stop.
Yep. That he does.
He does not go too far. He will always stop short. Just like George Costanza.
Yeah. Kramer.
But yeah, I don't care about politics.
No.
Dirty Harry was just cool. He was actually the precursor for the Punisher, if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
The Punisher is actually a comic book version of Dirty Harry.
The guy who would do what it would take
Because
to bring justice.
People but going from the 60s into the 70s were tired of the upturning crime, especially in places like New York City,
San Francisco,
right,
where Harry took place.
And they wanted some kind of hope, whether it be on the silver screen, in the comic books, and Dirty Harry was that guy.
Yep.
And there is still a visceral connection to a character like that. And we still, I think, want that to this day.
Well,
whether Disney or, the Democrats will let us have that.
Well, why do you think Charles Bronson's Death Wish series went as far as it did?
Right. But again, what modern examples do we have where we're allowed to have that kind of on-screen release where we can see the bad guys get toasted without
don't you get that
worrying about them going through the judicial system and getting appeal upon appeal upon appeal?
Don't you get that now kind of with The Equalizer on Sunday nights with Queen Latifah in a politically correct kind of way?
I have never wanted to punch you in my life until right now. Literally never. You and I have been friends for 30 fucking years, and I literally have never wanted to punch you until right now. Because he knows how goddamn much I fucking hate The Equalizer with Queen Latifah. God help me.
I knew that was a button I could push.
You take my feel-good moment and you just destroy it. As I try to relate to all the vigilantes and all the hardcore Steven Seagal, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme fans out there, and you gotta go and do that.
It's what I do.
Now, you know what I'm gonna do tonight? Just to piss you off, I'm gonna watch both Jack Reacher movies with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you can.
And love them! And love them!
And you can
because they're great
them.
movies. And you go home and you watch Queen Latifah with your bottle of Vaseline and you have fun.
Right. I think I will go watch Magnum Force.
Yeah, that'd probably be pretty cool. Pull out my Dirty Harry DVDs and yeah.
Maybe a little Sudden Impact.
Guns N' Roses in the Deadpool.
That's right.
With Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey lip syncing Welcome to the Jungle. But even that one, the last one in the series, was so cool because I love the remote control car bombs.
Yeah.
And how they orchestrated all that and choreographed it.
See, now I think the weakest one to me was probably The Enforcer.
Well, they tried to be PC at some point. And
with Tyne Daly.
Yeah. And they even back then were caving in.
Yep. That did not work.
No. Nope. Now, Magnum Force, when you've got David Soul, the Rogue Cops.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That's great stuff. Great stuff.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, I don't know why.
The original is still great, but
I don't know why, because I know in my heart it's not the best one, but I think it's just because I was old enough to go see it in the theaters. I still just have some kind of connection to the Deadpool.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just do. And again, I know it's not the greatest. I know you're right. Magnum Force would probably be technically the best. But yeah, oh man, I just love the Deadpool. And every time he gets a new partner. Oh, shit, I'm going to die.
Or wind up in the hospital.
Okay, Squid Game.
Update.
The creator of Squid Game did a rare interview and now says not only will there be a season 2, but there's probably going to be a season 3.
Oh, for the love of all that's holy.
Again, I don't know
Don't
why
beat
you
a
couldn't.
dead horse.
Because it's all about money. Money, 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 money. Creatively, whatever happened to doing things creatively? If something should have a natural end, end it. You should have. Squid Game should have been a 1-season only deal. I'm just terrified to see what season 2 and season 3 now could look like.
I will give season 2 a chance, but I do not hold high expectations for it.
No, I don't either. I really don't.
Because how long did it take him to write the first one and get it pushed through? And now you're going to cobble a second one together? That usually does not bode well.
Yep. But again, it's all money, money, money. Going back to what we were just talking about with Dirty Harry, there's a difference when you create a character like a Dirty Harry or an Indiana Jones. There is the expectation that you can carry that, like in books, a Jack Reacher, a Dave Robichaux, a Spencer. These characters are created to continue on with their adventures, with their mysteries. Squid Game doesn't feel like that. Squid Game feels like
a one and done.
Right. Getting to my resolutions. I have resolved to actually watch the 4th Matrix. Resurrections. I did get HBO Max started up again. That being said, The Matrix is another one where I kind of wish they'd stopped after the first one.
Yes.
The second one and the third one were not up to par.
No,
third one was okay.
Not.
Second one was terrible. I don't know what the fourth one's going to end up being like. I'll let you know here in a week or two. But sometimes you just got to stop at one story, one book, one season.
Yep. Sometimes it's enough to be a one-off.
Now on Disney Plus starting this week, I am interested in seeing this. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, but one of my favorite characters was always Boba Fett.
Yes.
And this week, the Book of Boba Fett started, which takes place right after the Return of the Jedi. So I don't necessarily have to be caught up on all the other Star Wars crap to understand what's going on, I hope. But Boba Fett's so cool. I mean,
come on.
I'm really tempted to watch this.
The Cosmic Bounty Hunter.
Yep. Really tempted to watch this one. And like I said, it just started, so we'll see. But going back to my resolutions, I have so many more things to watch. So I resolve to finally this month, coming up, finish up WandaVision, Hawkeye, The Beatles, Get Back, Doom Patrol, Season 3. I did watch another episode last night. I did watch Undead Patrol, finally. So I'm starting episode 5 of Season 3. Brains!
Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Now, on a more current level, the Season 4 finale of Yellowstone hits this Sunday. So next week, I will have a review of Season 4 in its entirety. I will not spoil anything for you, as I know you are trying to catch up. So I will give you a very generic kind of review of season 4.
And I appreciate it.
And then, of course, I will review Day 1 WWE pay-per-view. January the 1st, next week, I will tell you what titles changed hands, who got beat up by who. Because this is the first WWE pay-per-view in a month and a half. God damn, it's about time. I'm paying that $5 a month to Peacock. I want my pay-per-view. And then, of course, I promised Dave I would have a resolution about books. I will try to read twice as many books this year as I do normally.
2 a month.
Is it 2 a month? No, it'd be like 1.5, right? 2 a month seems a little.
How many do you usually
We're going
get through?
let's go from 9 to 18. Sounds right.
Okay.
All right. And that starts with what we were talking about off mic. I will go back and reread Killing Floor so I get prepped for
the show on
Reacher
Prime.
On Amazon Prime beginning of February.
Yep. Over this last week, I reread Killing Floor. And I first read it when it came out in 1997, 24 years ago. I had forgotten so much out of that because, 24 years and probably almost 2,000 books later.
So did you actually read it when it first came out?
Oh, yeah. I've read the series from the beginning.
Well, when you say that, I'm just trying to clarify. I've read all the books.
Yeah,
in the series,
I read it when it first came out back in 97.
So it was attractive to you right away. That book, you saw that book and you said, I want to read
liked the
this.
premise. It sounded really cool.
Okay.
And I grabbed it and I was hooked.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know if I've ever done that with a book series. So I'm fascinated by that because even with my favorite series, Spencer, Robichaux, and of course Reacher, I never started reading them right from the beginning. Yeah. I jumped in at some point in the middle and had to backtrack and start the series.
Yeah. Yeah. Reacher, I started right off with the first book. John Sanford's Davenport, the Prey books. I read the first 3 when they were out in paperback before the 4th one came out in hardback. So I wasn't right at the beginning with those, but really damn close with Reacher the Reacher series by Lee Child. I started right off the bat with that one.
Yeah, I literally cannot think of a series where I started it from the beginning, where I picked up the first book and said, I'm in, I'm hooked. It was always jumping in later and then saying, these are great. Let me start from the beginning.
Yeah. No,
so that's interesting.
This is the one that I started right from the get-go.
Very cool. Very cool.
It was really neat to be on the ground floor with this one.
Yep. So I resolve to do my best to try to double my reading for 2022, which still will not be even a tenth of what Dave reads in the year. But I would like to read The Killing Floor again just to refresh my memory on what happens in that, in anticipation of Reacher on Amazon Prime coming in February. I still got to finish up Better Off Dead, the new Reacher. I'm still working on that. So hopefully I'll have 2 Reacher reviews here within the next month. Of course, the new Spencer I've mentioned comes out. I've mentioned this to Dave. Comes out here in a couple weeks. Yep. I will definitely be reading that. Yep. So all sorts of stuff to do in 2022.
Yep. In a week or 2, I will have John Connolly's latest Charlie Parker book finished up.
And then, of course, in about 3 weeks, we will have a review of Mammoth, WVH, and Dirty Honey.
Yep.
Next week, we will review Dirty Honey's debut album.
Yep, in anticipation of the show.
Yep, and Being the Ricardos.
Yep.
On Amazon Prime. So
and whatever else we stumble upon.
That is correct. So, Happy New Year.
Hope you celebrated safe. Enjoy the bowl games New Year's Day here.
Yes. The big ones were last night, of course. The 31st would have been Alabama, Cincinnati, and Michigan, Georgia. So check out Sports Frenzy 2.0, our regular podcast, to find out a breakdown of the championship game.
Yep, gear up for that one. And we'll get ready for the last regular season weekend of the NFL.
That's right. So don't forget, you get us twice a week if you so choose. Some people would be happy with that, especially an Asian hooker. If I gave her $500.
Yeah, there you go. All right, kids. We'll talk to you next time.
Take care.